Arr, Pirate fans, it's time to find out the state of the ship of your defending champions for the 2022 season with your hosts, Johnny Wolver and Jake Ignaszewski. And now, brought to you by Resonate, it's the state of the ship.
I want to welcome you back into the state of the pirate ship. I'm your host, Team Insider Jake Ignaszewski, and we're recording here from the team's meeting room. These are where the players and coaches meet each and every single week, preparing for their opponent in season. And starting the off season, all these seats were empty. But over these past few weeks or so, Pirates general manager Jawad Yateem has been filling up these seats one by one with different signings as the roster continues to fill up, preparing for the 2023 season. And we have a lot to cover in this episode, updating you guys about what has been happening around the organization, not only signing players, hiring coaches, and also the 2023 schedule has just been released. You can go and check that out over on masspiratefootball.com, and you can also get your tickets over there at masspiratefootball.com/tickets. But in a later episode, John and I are going to break down each and every single game, give our insight, our analysis on how the Pirates stack up against each and every single team, depending on their past playing those opponents. But in this episode, we're going to mainly focus on the signings and the hirings that the Pirates have made over the past coming weeks. And starting off with the first one is kicker Josh Gable. Gable has been a part of the Pirates for the last 2 seasons or so and was a key contributor to helping the Pirates win the United Bowl Championship in 2021. But he split his 2022 season between the Edmonton Elks of the Canadian Football League and also with the Pirates. But he actually started with Massachusetts to begin the season and helped them notch their first win on opening night against the Frisco Fighters with a game-winning field goal. And he had plenty of those during the 2021 season as he kicked 2 back-to-back game-winning field goals, one in Week 9 against the Tucson Sugar Skulls, and then after the bye week in Week 11 against the Frisco Fighters. And after both of those weeks, he was named the Special Teams Player of the Week. But overall, last season, Gable was 10 for 19 and made 53% of his field goals and was 30 for 39 on extra points, making 77% of those extra point attempts. And he was the most consistent field goal kicker with a minimum of 15 attempts in the league last year. And prior to joining the Pirates, Gable spent 4 seasons in the IFL with teams like the Iowa Barnstormers, the Tucson Sugar Skulls, and the Nebraska Danger. And he'll bring consistency and stability to that kicking position. As we've seen over the past few years, the Pirates have sort of had a revolving door in that position, but luckily, Gable will bring consistency in 2023. And the Pirates also brought back another familiar face in defensive lineman Ezekiel Rose. And despite Rose only playing 3 games last year for the Pirates, he was one of the most dominant defenders that the Pirates had all throughout last season. And it really showed in the stats. When you look at his first 2 starts against the Bay Area Panthers and the San Diego Strike Force, Rose ended up leading the team in total tackles and ended up in only 3 games, as I mentioned, racking up 19 tackles. 9 of them were solo and 10 were assisted with 2 tackles for a loss. And he's somebody who also has experience playing in the Canadian Football League and also dominated off the line for Western Virginia University. And throughout his time with the Pirates, he brought personality and energy not only to the game field but also the practice field as well. And I spoke with him in an interview that's going to be coming out next week, and he mentioned one of the biggest things that intrigued him about coming back to the Pirates was the energy that was not only in the arena but among the team, and he feels like there's unfinished business with the organization. So he's going to help the Pirates solidify that defensive line, which is a position which was one of their biggest weaknesses throughout last year. And another guy who's going to help the Pirates do just that that as well is Jemias Pittman. And Pittman was a player who struggled with some injuries throughout last season, but appeared in 7 games for the Pirates throughout the year. And he's another player who was a force off the line for Massachusetts, and ended up recording 13 total tackles, 5 solo and 8 assisted, 2.5 tackles for a loss, and 1.5 sacks with 4 breakups. And Pittman's somebody who played 4 seasons at UCF and ended up being rated one of the top linemen in their conference. But he's somebody who not only brings past experience from last season with the organization, but has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. As I mentioned, missed some games with injuries, and so he's definitely going to come into camp this season more motivated than ever to show not only the Pirates organization and fans what he has, but also some of the other leagues around there that he has what it takes to be able to move up. As the Pirates continue to build up their defense, which was so dominant in their championship season back in 2021, they ended up re-signing one of those key contributors during that championship season in defensive back Arian Maxey Penton, an AMP, which many players and people around the organization call him, was so vital to the Pirates' defensive attack in their secondary throughout the 2022 season, and he actually ended up tying the all-time Pirates interceptions record for 12, and also ended up padding up some of his records that he had going into last season with the most passes defended in the organization, as well as the most pick sixes in the Pirates all-time record book. But AMP ended up being awarded for his great season for the Pirates last year, being selected to the All-IFL first team, and also ended up leading the league with 7 interceptions. But he's somebody who's going to bring veteran experience not only in the indoor football league, but also with the Pirates organization, as well as dominance to that secondary. And somebody who's going to be so vital in the Pirates' defensive success next season is their new assistant head coach and defensive coordinator, Sergio Gallium, who ended up coaching the Pirates back in 2018 as their defensive back coach, and recently helped the Albany Empire of the National Arena League win the championship as their defensive coordinator and special teams coach. But he's somebody, speaking with him prior to this episode, mentioned that he has unfinished business with the organization and wants to bring a championship back to the Massachusetts community, and believes that not only what the Pirates have been building with their championship culture, but also the championship culture of the New England region, he wants to come back and help the team be able to hoist up another trophy. But he also has experience as a player in the AF2, the IFL, and also the Chinese Arena League. So he has so much experience in the game, not only as a player, but as a coach. And it's nice because he's already been able to be around the organization, understands the culture, and is just able to slip right in, bring some of his past experiences that he's had to be able to help teams like the Empire be able to win a championship and really help this defense get back to what made them so successful during the 2021 season. And 2 players that the Pirates just recently signed as well are going to do just that. And they're 2 brand new players, but one of them the Pirates have seen over the past 2 years essentially dominate their offense on the other side of the field. That's Mamadou Mumbai, who's a defensive back and has spent his last 2 seasons in Green Bay playing for the Blizzard. And funny enough, Mumbai has tallied his season high in tackles over the last 2 years, both against the Pirates, which is 11. And he has just been so dominant on the defensive side over the last 2 years. And it really showed this past season when he was named the All-IFL second team. But when you really look at the stats, I mean, in 14 games this last season, he tallied 108 tackles, 71 of those were solo and 37 were assisted, 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery, and also a forced fumble. And then in 2021, over 9 contests, 52 total tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, 3 interceptions, a fumble recovery, and also 3 broken up passes. And so he's somebody who not only is going to come to the organization with past arena experience, but also past experience where he was dominant. And especially mixing him up with Arian Maxey Penton back in that secondary, and also Max Redfield as well from Notre Dame. Whew. Quarterbacks are going to be very scared to pass the football against the Pirates defense, which, as I mentioned throughout this episode, is what made them so successful throughout 2021 and also 2022 as well. But the Pirates are really starting to build up such a dominant and lockdown defense, which is going to help them be so successful throughout 2023. And now looking at that other signing that I had mentioned in defensive lineman Daryl Banfield, who ended up playing in 2020 in the XFL with the DC Defenders and also spent time in 2019 with the Chicago Bears as an undrafted free agent and actually made it into 4 preseason contests and ended up totaling 6 tackles, 2 solo, 4 assisted, 1 sack, and 2 quarterback hurries. And he was also so dominant during his 4 seasons at Brown University. But throughout this week, it's been so exciting to see some of these seats start to be filled up, as well as this Pirates defense starting to get a little bit more solidified. And it's tough to not get excited and a little bit giddy on some of these players that the Pirates are not only bringing back, but bringing in from other organizations to help them build up another dominant defense. But as we continue to look forward to the 2023 season, I'm going to continue to bring you updates about what is going on with the Pirates organization, as well as what they're doing to get ready for this season to dominate and get back to the IFL Championship. But as always, we greatly appreciate everybody tuning into this episode of the State of the Pirate Ship. And as I mentioned, the schedule is out, so go and check it out on masspiratesfootball.com. You can go over and get your tickets at masspiratesfootball.com/tickets. We got some great deals over there, so definitely make sure to go and check it out. And also, if you want to be a season ticket holder, you can get a great deal of 25 cents off gas at 9 select locations around the Massachusetts area. But we hope that everybody has a great rest of their week, and keep an eye out for my interview with defensive lineman Ezekiel Rose as he speaks a little bit about what he's been doing throughout this offseason, why he decided to re-sign with the Pirates, and what he's planning to do to improve and be even better during the 2023 season. But before we end this episode, I just want to mention, if you have not yet, make sure to subscribe over on YouTube or whatever audio platform that you listen to. But we'll see you guys next week. Arg.